Hey everyone, welcome back to All Great Books. I'm Ellie and today we're finally doing my favourites videos. So today is my first of four. I had to break it up into 4 different categories because I had so many favourites. 2019 I read so many books. My total was 175 and I think I ended up with like 35 favourites out of those. So today I'm doing my favourites of children's and YA. Friday I have my favourite non-fiction. Monday is a wrap-up. Wednesday is fiction, and then finally Friday is poetry. So we're gonna get into it. I didn't pick like a top 10 or anything like that. I just went through my list and whatever number I had for each different section, that was the number I was doing. So in this one I have 9, which I think maybe other than non-fiction, I think they might be equal. Non-fiction might be 10. I'm not sure. Let's get into it. Kind of cheating with this one because it is 2 books and I'm counting it as 1, but it is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I read both volumes 1 and 2 this year and I just love them both so much, and I couldn't possibly pick which one was my favourite out of these. I don't think I have any other graphic novels on my list at all. Maybe one you could call a graphic novel. But these are just adorable. I've been a fan of Alice Oseman since her first book, Solitaire, came out in like 2012 or 2013. So I'm just so glad that she's putting out more books. I am a little bit behind on her fiction books. I haven't read her newest one, I Was Born for This, but hopefully picking that up soon. And I'm just so excited to see this series continue in 2020. It's absolutely adorable. If you haven't read it, it follows 2 characters from Solitaire, the main character, and that's younger brother. This is about Nick and Charlie. They're 2 teenage boys who fall in love, and it's just really adorable and it makes me really happy. And just like the art style as well is just like, it's pretty like simple, but it's also just really nice and easy to follow, which I really appreciate in a graphic novel. Next, this probably surprises absolutely no one. Wonder Smith by Jessica Townsend. So Nevermore is my favorite, one of my favorite books of all time. This is the sequel that came out in 2018 in October. But I didn't have a chance to read it in 2018, so I got to it as part of my Owls, and I just absolutely love this series. I think I like this one even slightly more than the first one, which never happens with the second book, let's be honest. But this is just such a magical story. The world building in it is great. I would absolutely love to live there. And I just really enjoy the characters. Morrigan Crow is our main character. She's great, she's witty, she's smart, and she's also kind of a little bit, I guess, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, kind of like hesitant, like a bit shy, and she hasn't quite come into her confidence yet, and I think I would have really loved her as a kid had I been able to read these books then. I think that would have meant a lot to me when I was feeling kind of those same sorts of ways and not really know who I was or what was going on, that sort of thing. So I think this is a great series for kids. I also think it's an incredible series for adults. It's beautiful, and there's a lot of like social commentary in here as well, that kids might not pick up on, but it's really teaching like equality and how to be a good friend, and when things don't go to plan or how you want them to, kind of how to keep going from that. So I think it's a really powerful series and I just love it. Next we've got some YA. This is Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. This one also came out in 2019. Quite a few of these are 2019 releases actually. So this one is kind of like almost like a Handmaid's Tale for a YA audience. So it follows these girls who live in this school and they're basically kind of taught how to be the perfect women. And they're brainwashed, and throughout the book they kind of realise that they are brainwashed and the world isn't what they've been taught. And it's a really great story of like female empowerment and female friendship. The lengths these girls go to for each other is just really beautiful. And it was just, it's not a fun book. This is the first book in a series. It's intense. It reminded me a little bit of Only Ever Yours, Louise O'Neill. So yeah, it's kind of like a mix of Handmaid's Tale and Only Ever Yours. And I just think it's a really important book. There's some stuff that happens in here that I've seen happen or have even experienced myself in our society, which is kind of terrifying, but would highly recommend this one. Back onto some children's. This is Withering by Sea by Judith Russell. This is the first book in the Stella Montgomery series. I love this book. I mean, obviously it's in my favorites, but this is just such a great, fun little book. It follows Stella Montgomery, who is a young girl, and she lives in this hotel in this seaside coastal town. And yeah, there's like a mystery to it, and there's a little bit of magic, and there are cats. Like there are multiple cats in this story. Like that's what we all really want. It reminded me a little bit kind of like a Nancy Drew, but with a bit of a magical twist to it. I love Nancy Drew, so this was just kind of perfect. And I just loved it so much. I didn't get the time to get to the sequels. This is the first in a trilogy, but I would really like to pick them up this year. Next up we have Pages & Co., which this one is Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales, which is book 2 by Anna James. I loved book 1. I read it in 2018. I keep going to say last year. Let's pause for the ambulance. This one is so much fun. This one, so in the first one, Tilly discovers that she's a book wanderer, which basically means that she can go into books, which is just great. Like, what a great, like, magical power to have. Like, I would like that, please. So in this one, she and her best friend go to Paris to visit his dad, and while they're there they find this bookstore and they go into some fairy tales and things start going wrong. It's just like a super fun series. I really love it. It just makes me so happy. So would highly recommend this to everyone. It's adorable. It's a feel-good book, like 100%. Okay, then we've got 2 YAs. Firstly, we have The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. I have never read anything of Kirsten White's before. My best friend Angel is a huge fan of hers and her Die Darken series. This is the first of hers that I picked up. It's a King Arthur and obviously Guinevere retelling, and again, it's just a really, like, it's a fun book. Like, this one is definitely more intense than some of the others, with it being a YA, but it's just a lot of fun to read, and I got completely sucked in and I read it in a few hours. I love the characters. I'm a big fan of the King Arthur myth. I don't even really know why, but I just like it. Again, this is the first in a series, so I'm really looking forward to hopefully the next one coming out next year. Well, this year. I still like haven't completely gotten used to the fact it's 2020. So yeah, it's just really looking forward to these. It's got a little bit of a more magical twist to it than the original. Yeah. It's cool. I like it. The only thing that I struggled about with this one is having seen Merlin. It's very hard not to imagine all the characters as the characters in the show. So there's that, but still very different from this show, still enjoyable. Another one. This is Who Put This Song On by Morgan Parker. I feel like this has the potential to become one of my favorite books of all time. I just really enjoyed it. This is kind of based on Morgan Parker's own experiences. She's a woman of colour and she suffers from depression and anxiety, and this is kind of her experiences in high school, and what that's like. It has maybe the best representation of depression that I've read, possibly ever. A lot of the ways that Morgan Parker experiences depression, very similar to the way that I do, even though we have vastly different experiences otherwise. And I just really liked this. This is Morgan Parker's debut YA. She does write poetry, which I also read some of this year, and you will have seen in a wrap-up a few days ago. But yeah, just a big fan of this one. We're sort of going to the end of the year, and yes, so you may have, if you've watched my videos, you've seen these recently. So we have Otley Coulter and The Narrowway Hunt by Rhiannon Williams. This is another middle grade fantasy. I really like this one. So the premise is that Otley is this young girl, and one day her younger brother gets kidnapped, and so she goes after him, and it sets them on this adventure. I really like this. It's also got like a little hint of feminism in there. There is a lot of sexism in this adventure that Otley is kind of trying to fight against. I really like that. Really excited for the second book, which I just bought in December, and that cover has a lot more women on the front, or girls, and I'm really excited. Hopefully that means that some of the other female characters in here are going to play a bigger role. Again, this is just a really fun one. There's a lot of magical creatures in here, and I just really enjoy this. This is also, quite a few of these are, this is a Oz MG. Yeah. I really like this, and I'm really looking forward to reading the second one, probably in February. And then finally, another Australian to round it up. This is Tales from Outer Suburbia by Sean Tan. This is one of the last books that I read in the year, but I just absolutely adore Sean Tan. He is brilliant. So this is kind of like a mix of different things. I showed this in my book haul. It's got like little short stories in there, and then like beautiful illustrations. If you haven't, I highly recommend picking up Sean Tan's books. They're beautiful, they make me so happy. Some of them are a little dark. They are technically children's books, but if you Well, if you read Cicada, you will soon learn that there are some moments in there that are not, it gets dark. But he's just an incredible author, and I can't wait to pick up more of his books in 2020. So there we are. That was my children's and YA favourites. I read a lot of children's books this year, as you can tell by this list, but I didn't really read a lot of YA. I kind of unintentionally stepped back from YA in 2019. Not that I'm not enjoying it anymore or anything like that. I just had so many other books that I wanted to read that I just kind of got distracted. But hopefully I will be able to read all of the things in 2020. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you guys on Friday for my favourites non-fiction. My favourite non-fiction, yes. Okay, bye.